Guys, this is an exciting week.
It is. Aren't they all exciting though?
That was the worst start of a podcast episode I think anybody has ever done ever. I guess we didn't plan that. You guys thought that I was just going to talk.
Yes.
I did think you were going to talk. The reason I thought you were going to talk was when you said earlier, hey, Ren, I'm just going to start off by talking. So I'm sorry for the misinterpretation. Yeah. Sorry for listening to exactly what you said. It won't happen again.
That was the mistake. So this is a very exciting week. We have officially launched our own online training business, Online Trainer Coaching. If you're interested, by the way, you can put yourself on the wait list there. It's theptdc.com/OTC. And we're super excited to launch this. This is our own online fitness coaching business. We've done a whole bunch of really, really awesome stuff with automation and scale while maintaining really, really high quality amongst the programming, amongst the coaching, and also individualization of the programming and the coaching. When you looked around for all the tools that we were going to use to power our new service, obviously we know all of the different software programs really, really well. And we decided to use PT Distinction to power our service. The combination of ease to get going, all of the tools available to build automations but still communicate individually, the ability to have, everybody can download their own app. They've got the EOS app, they've got an Android app. We can build our own branded app as part of it, which is really, really neat too. All of those things together just let us choose it. And we're super, super happy with it so far. Super happy with working with the team. And as you guys know, PT Distinction is the sponsor on our podcast. It's not just because they pay us money. We really believe that they do a great service. So anybody listening out there, if you do want to get going, they do offer all of our listeners an extra 30-day trial. So you get a full 60-day trial to check it out. So, if you want to take my word for it, you can. Or you can check it out yourself. Just go to onlinetrainer.com/PTD. And there's coupon code there to get your extra 30-day trial. Definitely recommend it. Okay, Ron, that's all I'm talking.
I love it.
Amazing.
I've been poking around in that PT Distinction. I'm one of the coaches
how
for the
you found
OTC.
it so far, Ren? Tell me.
Yes. First of all, I didn't realize how easily you can integrate it with your own website if you need to. Like it's seamless in a way that a client really couldn't tell that they're in an outside program if you tie it into your website. Just the amount of detail is unusually good. And the previous thing that I used, I couldn't send like quality video to an individual client in the system.
Interesting.
And you guys know, for those that follow me on the interwebs, Al Gore's invented internet, that I like to do a lot of video. So video is the way I prefer to communicate.
Right.
I didn't realize how seamless that was on the platform.
I don't think, by the way, speaking in a completely related manner, I don't think I've ever seen the top of your head before.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm pushing the envelope today, Jonathan, for if you usually listen to the podcast and you don't watch it, you're going to head on over to YouTube because I'm going to challenge myself by doing a podcast episode with no hat.
Right. Never happens.
I don't know how it's going to go. It's we're in murky waters right now, murkier than usual, and I like to use the term murky. So perhaps this will be an intersection of Murphy's Law. Is that the right term now? That's not it. Oh, Murphy. It's Murphy. All this time I thought it was Murphy's Law. So I've got some things that I want to chat about, Jonathan. But I know we're in a hurry. I know you want to introduce the show. I've got a quick share on the other side. I'm going to let you. I'm going to give the ball back. You're my best friend. I'm going to share with you. Go ahead and take us into the show if it's your will, sir. Do thy bidding.
Hello, my name is Jonathan Goodman, and welcome to the Online Trainer Show. And today we're talking about how to know who to believe on the internet. Spoiler, the answer is nobody. Play the jingle.
This is the Online Trainer Show, Trainer Show, Trainer Show. This is the Online Trainer Show. We shouldn't have a podcast.
Jingle. So I don't want to take too much time away from Keto because we need to hear from her. But I don't know if you guys know this. We had an earthquake in North Carolina.
Yeah. Yes.
So
yes.
North Carolina's not, if you're doing word association and someone says North Carolina, it'd be rare for someone to say earthquake. There's reason for that. We don't really have earthquakes in North Carolina. We had a 5.1 earthquake in North Carolina.
Like, what fault line are you over? What tectonic plates
I don't know.
Crashed into each other underneath you in North Carolina?
Something happened. It could be the meth gators migrating through the sewers from Tennessee. Don't know. You get a large, I think, amalgamation. What do you call a group of gators? Is that a flock? A flock of gators? I don't know.
Gators. I gotta look that up.
Yeah. Somebody research that. Talking to you, Joe Brown, 2020. We haven't heard from you in a while. I'm literally on the toilet at, just forgive me, podcast listeners. I'm on the toilet approximately.
It's a congregation. There was a congregation.
Congregation. My father's a minister, so he has a congregation too. They just don't bite him. So that I'm aware of. I haven't been to church in a while.
You just learned that your father's a meth gator?
No, he's a minister. Stop sidetracking me, Jonathan. First of all, I'll ask the questions here, sir.
This is what we do.
So I'm on the toilet, and the toilet's shaking. Now, you guys are experienced with my train. There's a train here. The train comes on every podcast episode, so the train vibrates the building. It's in that close of a proximity. I mean, you can hear it through my glass. But that's usually an up and down. My toilet's going from side to side, and the doorway is going in the opposite direction of the toilet. And I'm thinking, I didn't have any Chipotle this week, so there's no explanation for why this toilet's moving in the manner it is, and it's an earthquake. So I run downstairs and I sit in my car for like 5 minutes because I don't know what to do in an earthquake other than get out of the building. I'm on the third floor, so I run outside and I remember that I had a cupcake in the car. Best morning ever. The end. So, Keto, what's going on in your world? Like, how are you doing today? We want to hear from you.
Is that the end of your story?
Definitely not earthquakes.
That's it.
Did you actually just finish your story like that?
Well, I mean, I had the cupcake.
I mean, it was a great cupcake by the sounds of it.
Was it gonna increase? Was the story gonna improve from the cupcake? I don't think so, Jonathan.
Like that's peak right there.
Telling a good story is knowing when to end it, and you can't end a story better than "and I had a cupcake" that I'm aware of. The listeners understand. Jonathan's so detached from reality with his Tesla, and his smart Tony Stark home. He can't even appreciate a good story anymore. He's just gotten too high on the hog.
I ate a tomato from our garden. It was the first tomato that we
see what I'm saying?
Aww,
we had a salad. Alice and I had a salad 2 days ago that was 100% from our garden. So our garden is bearing vegetables and fruit, which is awesome.
Yay,
I feel like there's a lot of quarantine gardens.
It started with making bread. Now we're on to eating the vegetables from our garden. That's the progression.
Landscapers.
We'll all be Amish by the end of the year. So, Keto, so what's going on with you, Keto? You did a vacation and then you came back and you've been doing stuff. You do things.
I've been doing things like we bought a house.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, you said wait, hold on. You said we bought a house.
We bought a house.
Who's we? Who's
Jeff
we?
and I.
What? Who's Jeff?
The mayor.
You bought a house.
I love the faces. Oh my God. Anybody who's not on YouTube, you got to go on YouTube and see the faces of shock right now. Yes, we bought
a house with the mayor.
Yes.
So does that make you?
With my boyfriend who happens to be the mayor. Yes.
So
this is big news.
Everybody's like in shock right now. I love this. I
gotta buy you some white gloves to wave at people from the outside of your car now.
Yes,
you're gonna be Miss Mayor. You're gonna be a very powerful woman in a reasonably small town outside of a bigger town.
Okay, so first of all, I take insult to the fact that you don't think I'm already powerful, because I am. Hello. I did not need this house status to get me there, so thank you for that.
I'm legitimately afraid by how much your hands were just moving.
Be very afraid. Once the hand talking starts, be very afraid.
That's the Latina hand talking. That's
It's an overabundance of gestures coming from Keto's side of the camera.
It amplifies the message.
So I didn't even know how this. I just assumed that like you move into City Hall. Obviously, I don't understand how politics works. That's not a thing. The mayor doesn't live at City Hall. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, we
blowing my
camp
mind right now.
under the desk. Like, I don't know. Like, how does that work, man?
I'm unfamiliar. Well, this is big news.
It's
So,
huge. Yeah.
Listeners, you heard it here first.
Yes.
I believe we scooped the National Enquirer on this and TMZ.
Dude, I haven't even seen this on Facebook.
No, it's not yet. So we're gonna, hold off on that.
Is it
This
on-
this is only for listeners.
Is it on the Mayor's Instagram page? For those of you who don't know,
No.
that's at Jedi Mayor.
At Jedi Mayor.
No,
What's going over there?
it is not. We're holding off on that. Nobody in Barrie really listens to this podcast because there aren't very many, fitness professionals in Barrie that listen to us, which is really sad, but at the same time, really convenient because I get to talk about this stuff that I don't necessarily feel like I want to post on Facebook yet. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. So listeners, there you have it. That was the first.
Gosh.
I was just too excited. I couldn't hold it in. I had to tell you guys, you're my peeps.
Let me say from all of my brethren, a healthy and hearty mazel tov to you and yours. I wish you many great mitzvahs. And I look forward to much tzedakah in the future coming from you.
Great.
Most of those things didn't make sense for anybody who's
At
Jewish.
all,
They know
but I
that.
appreciate it. It sounded really nice. It sounded like good wishes, so I'll take it.
This is a podcast full of firsts. We've had the first Jonathan Goodman read, PT distinction ad today. We've had the first podcast episode with me attempting to podcast with no hat. And I've just heard what I believe is in the history of the planet, the first Jewish celebratory congratulations for a Mexican-Canadian house purchase.
Yes.
I don't think we've ever experienced
Love it.
The likes of which we've never seen or heard before, folks.
And don't forget your earthquake.
Oh, and the
in South Carolina.
The toilet earth. Years from now, people will say, "Where were you on that day?" When
other people will say, "Where were you on that episode about online training that didn't actually talk about online training?"
Any online training? Are we long? That's Jonathan's hint to tell me that we're talking too much. So, Jonathan, we've got a topic today.
Yeah, no, we're out of time. We got to get going.
Could have ended this at the cupcake, Jonathan. So, we've got a topic today. How do we know who do we listen to? Like, who's the right voice to listen to on the internet, Al Gore's internet, when it comes to fitness, wellness, all the stuff. And Jonathan gave us a spoiler. He said it's nobody. I thought it was him. And it could still be,
Well, you are listening to me. You are listening to us.
Right.
Which shows that you really don't your intuition cannot be judged.
The fact that they're listening to us proves the concept that you should not be listening to anyone on the internet
at all.
And yet here we are.
Well, I mean, where this came up for any of you who follow me on Facebook, and I mean, in addition to my friends, there's 12,000 of you. And so that's, for anybody wondering, about 4 times the size of Barrie. The city of Barrie that Carolina's
snap
boyfriend is the mayor. Actually, I think Barrie's pretty big. How many people are in Barrie?
I think like 150,000.
Yeah, it's like not small.
It's tiny. Yeah. No, but it is still a small city.
Well, but I mean, like we make fun of Jeff, obviously, and he's like the nicest guy in history, by the way. So like, I feel legitimately bad for making fun of him every single time I do, because
he's in politics. He's used to it.
Right.
Oh, for sure. But anyway, so this came up because I posted something on my face. Basically, I woke up this morning. It's August 11th, which is again a faux pas on podcast land.
I'm supposed to do that
because you're going to listen to this like 3 weeks from now,
right?
Or later than that. And so it's August 11th, and I woke up this morning, and I just had like a bunch of messages from people be like, "Hey, I saw this list of the top fitness business coaches, and you weren't on it. That really sucks. You should have been on it." And I was like,
"Yeah,
I
saw that.
I was out late with family last night. Like, what is going on? I don't want to deal with this now." And so anyway, I think back, and last week I was like, wait a minute, that dude messaged me on Instagram last week. And so I go check, and it's of course the same thing. And there was somebody who messaged me on Instagram last week and I shared the screenshot on my Facebook, who basically asked me if I wanted to pay to be in a feature that he was putting together for Yahoo Finance, talking about the best fitness business coaches. And of course I said, I'm not interested. And then he responded, and this is the kicker, okay, no problem. Do you know somebody who is?
No.
and I mean, I didn't
answer.
And so now I wake up this morning, of course, this article has gone live, and I haven't looked at the article. I have no idea who's in it. And but I'm sure the people who are in it are good. I probably know some of them, but it's just one of those things where it's like, this is not a merit-based list, right?
Yeah.
Like nobody was like, oh, I'm going to actually figure out who the best coaches are and actually speak to their students and look at what they're teaching and what they're doing and help people make a good choice. No, this is a company that has permission to post on a bigger platform and then goes and sells appearances on that platform, which, by the way, is I don't know about Yahoo, but a bunch of people used to do this on entrepreneur.com, and it was clearly against their terms. They'd basically email you and they'd say okay, well, hey, I'll for $10,000 I'll write an article about you on my contributor account on entrepreneur.com.
Oh my gosh.
And there are some companies who actually buy spots on those places for the purpose of doing that. But anyway, so this is a list that if you're looking at these lists of who are the best whatever, they're not merit based. I literally posted the screenshot of somebody saying, would you pay me to be on this list, and me saying no, and then the list goes live the next week.
Oh, that's just
so that's
sad.
how this conversation came
It's
up.
basically a fundraiser for a class trip is what you're saying. raising money for my daughter's class trip this year. They're going to Florida. If you'd like to pay $10,000, we can put you in this article of the top
I don't know how
minds
much. I don't know how much people paid to be on this one, because I just said I'm not interested. Next time I get a message from them, I'll ask them how much they want.
So now a question for you: what is your criteria for weeding out the people who are worth following? Yes. How do you go about it, Jonathan?
I didn't think we were going to go in this direction with this conversation.
It's a good direction.
You're
great
on the
question.
spot now.
No, obviously I knew that this is gonna go in this direction. My criteria, we've spoken about this before. My criteria is to look for actual indications of seriousness about what they do.
You're right. Yeah, you've mentioned this before. Yeah.
None of you have mentioned my haircut today.
I saw it. It wasn't the right time.
I was blinded by Ren's hair, honestly.
Look at the lineup.
That's all my attention.
Is that what
right? Did you get that on the Golden Throne?
I did.
Yeah, the golden haircut throne. I got an earthquake on my Golden Throne. That's all I got. Your hair's amazing. Your hair looks phenomenal.
Thank you very much for that. So, for those who don't know the story, I told it a couple weeks ago. I was looking for a barber around the new neighborhood that I moved into. And how do you find a barber?
A Golden Throne, obviously.
Pretty much. Jonathan's frozen, so he went with the Golden Throne. He goes to the barber, and the barber has a Golden Throne. And he's got golden clippers. You froze, Jonathan, so I picked up your story.
No, I'm back. I appreciate that.
Considerate friend. Yeah.
The internet popped out. So how do you ever know if one barber is better than another barber?
Because they put their soul into their craft, and
but
you can tell.
How would you ever know that? Right? They all have the same yellow or blue, red, and white, whatever. Barber circle things. Mm-hmm. They all say that they're barbers. They all whatever. There's no way to know. It's not you watch people walking out of the barber shop and you're you got to get a haircut. How do you judge that? And so maybe you get a referral, maybe not. But I was moving into this new neighborhood and I was like, okay, well, how do you choose a barber? Well, I'm going to try to find a barber that I believe actually takes his craft seriously. So I walked around town and I looked in the window of one, and Buddy had a golden barber chair and gold like clippers and barber equipment. I was like, I want that guy. Like, I don't know if he's really good, but I can be fairly certain that he's not going to be bad.
No.
Because there's just no way that somebody would invest that much, and like, there's no way that somebody would have that if they're not at least serious about what they do.
Right.
So the way to do it is to like not read these nonsense lists of like who are the best trainers, who are the best whatever, because they're all, it's networking, it's paying to be included, it's and even if it isn't, you know, it's media these days is such a churn and burn, fast reaction page view thing. It's just nonsense. It's nobody actually checks. And so number one is to look for like real measures of seriousness. You know, we talk about this with the Online Trainer Academy a lot, right? The famous quote by Charles P.D. Bell from Arkansas when we asked him why he enrolled in the Online Trainer Academy. Mm-hmm. When he said, you know, I hadn't really heard of you guys. I didn't really know much about you. But I saw that you had a textbook on online training. And all I could think to myself is, ain't nobody going to go to that much trouble for some bullshit course. Like, that's kind of step one, right? Because that's not your end step. But step one is you need to start to whittle down your choices before you look deeper. Because it's impossible to go to everybody and like ask for references and try to assess and compare. What you want to do is you want to whittle down into at least a couple options, like 2 or 3 options that you think might be right for you. And then you can go deeper and spend time comparing if it's an important enough decision. But in order to do that, the easiest thing to do is to look for some measures of seriousness. How long have they been doing this? Right? How much does it look like they've invested in this? Or better yet, ask yourself, how much do they have to lose by offering a bad service?
Right.
And I think you'll quickly find that we've got basically the most sunk cost in this thing than just about anybody else. But there are other people out there, you know, who of course invest in it. So that's step one. And then step two is to like actually try and find people who have been through the program and not necessarily look to see if they've had success or not had success, because that person's experience is going to be very different than yours. The market can, especially now with COVID, like, we kind of joke, but it's actually really frustrating for a business that we basically have no data that's usable from the last 6 months because the market conditions are so all over the place that if somebody was successful in the last 4 or 5 months and you're going in and buying a service a year from now, like, you just have no idea whether what they did can work. I mean, all sales scripts, everything has to pretty fundamentally change. And how you put out content and where you show up and stuff like that is very, very different than it was. And then people's situations are different, right? Some people just have more connections, less connections. Their history, their experience is different. Like, it's just asking somebody if they've worked with a particular person or not, whether they had success or not, is pretty valuable. There's a lot of issues that can come up. But if you actually speak to them and learn about what their experience was like working with that person, you can accumulate a lot of data points that will start to help you figure out whether you might benefit from that type of support. You know, do you need somebody who's there for you that you can call all the time or not? Right? One isn't necessarily better than the other. One's going to be more expensive, but one isn't necessarily better than the other. And what do you need? Right? Do you need somebody who, do you have a bunch of extra money to play with and you want to scale this thing massive from the start and you're willing to put out $50,000 or $100,000 to figure out paid advertising before you get any hint of a profit? Well, then you probably want to go to somebody who's a big ad buyer, big paid advertising buyer. if you try to go to that person and you don't have an extra 50 grand lying around minimum, you're going to crash and burn pretty quick. And you're going to think that it was a bad service, whereas it wasn't necessarily. And so ask what they're, ask what people's experiences were with that person and actually analyze it and try to compare it to what you think that you need, to give you some sort of indication of whether it might be something to move forward. But definitely don't trust the internet.
This is coming from the online trainer show, which exclusively exists on the internet.
I mean, I can tell you stories of just how easy it is to fabricate material online. It is so
100%.
easy. It is so easy to buy media appearances. It's so easy to buy coverage. It's so easy and actually relatively cheap to appear on lists of the best trainers, of the best fitness business coaches. It's so easy to make claims that nobody checks. I mean, I'll give you a few examples just because I think that they're funny.
Oh boy.
So one guy in our industry, a fitness business coach who operates out of Ireland, had all of these testimonials going. And if you actually looked up the testimonial and you searched on Fiverr.com for gigs that you can pay people $5 to $10 to give you a testimonial for your business, you will immediately identify that it is the same person.
No.
Oh.
So you like paid Fiverr writers?
You can buy testimonials for your business for as little as $5.
No.
Wow, I did not know that.
You can go on iStock, basically any photo subscription website, and you can buy professional before and after photos.
Wow.
No.
I had no idea that this was like an actual market out there. Like I had no clue. What the heck? Like you're blowing my mind right now. And please, like listeners, don't get any quirky ideas of like, oh, maybe that's the way to do it. Don't do that shit. Like we're telling you, don't do that shit.
Contact people. I mean, this isn't even like, oh, it's like Buddy's cousin who like said a good thing about them. I mean, like do that.
Right. Like that's legit. Like it's still like you actually gave
authentic.
a good service. Yeah. It's like more real.
But then my favorite story of all time, I think we told it on the podcast once, but I'm going to keep telling it just because it's so funny, is an Australian fitness business coach who was outed. It was a year or two ago, but basically he created a fake, at least one, probably more, but basically he created a fake Facebook account with a fake name and everything, put in a bunch of like content to make it seem like it was real, started friending everybody who might have been customers, like other fitness professionals who might have been customers for like this business coach, and then posting all of this perceived like success stuff about how he was working with this fitness coach and having all of these incredible returns. And the reason that he got outed and everybody found out is because the photo that was used for the account was a gay porn star.
No. Oh, wow.
And you complained about my donut ending?
And so somebody, I don't even know how they found this out, right? So like somebody did a reverse image search, or maybe they were just like looking for something
fan
to
out
watch
there,
at night.
obviously.
Like, I don't know, right?
Yeah.
But they figured this out, and it's just one of those things where it's like actually pretty easy to get away with something like that. And the fact that he didn't is almost funnier.
And I got criticized because my story ended with cupcake. It ends with gay porn star. Are you kidding me right now? Oh my gosh.
I mean, is that not?
Oh man.
Is that not just one of those things where you look at it and you're just like, you can't trust anything, man.
Right.
And let alone all of these people who are putting out and saying, oh, this, how to become $100,000 trainer. It's like, this person made $8,000. It's like,
yeah.
okay, they made $8,000. They billed $8,000 once. It doesn't mean they're going to make $8,000 a month, right? Or this person has contracts for X amount of dollars. They haven't actually received X amount of dollars.
Correct.
It's not even that kind of like financial maneuvering of like lying about how much you're making or embellishing or forecasting and assuming that what you did one month is what you're going to do every month. It's like literally fake profiles, literally buying testimonials of this kind of stuff, buying placements on, how to, who are the best, whatever. You gotta figure out what's important to you. You've got to look for real indications of, like I said, seriousness. And then you've got to actually do some legwork if you want to make a good decision. And unfortunately, most won't, which is why this stuff will keep going on. But that's the internet. I got more stories. I can keep telling.
No, please don't, Jonathan. If you're just tuning into the podcast, Jonathan Goodman has just told us there's no Santa Claus. So enjoy that. He also killed the Easter Bunny. Yeah, no, thank you, Jonathan. He also killed the Easter Bunny. Like he's dashed all of our good thoughts about what we see on the internet in one or two stories. I have a tendency to. Yes, sir. Oh, he froze again. Good, I get to talk. He froze again. I'm secretly controlling this from my headquarters. I'm freezing Jonathan every time I want to say something. You're welcome, Jonathan. That money I paid to that tech company really paid off. But Keto, I know that our backgrounds are similar in some ways and dissimilar in other ways. But I think
how are they similar?
Well, I think everybody on this podcast really we don't come from extreme means. We don't come from independent wealth. Like we nobody on this podcast has an aversion to doing the work. Right. Is what I mean. And when you don't have an aversion to doing the work, you're much less likely to get caught up in scams because the easy thing doesn't appeal to you. Like, forget that. I mean, I'll just do it myself. Keto shared with us on one podcast, the game that she literally played with literally how far can I stretch this dollar while building my business? So, right. Keto, would you say that have you ever run into a situation where you've gone down that rabbit hole where somebody advertised something and you were like, oh, this is the business coach for me? It's never happened for me because it's not attractive to me. What's your thought in the closing minute or so we have here?
Yeah, I've been very lucky. I haven't fallen for anything like that either, even though I've been approached, because right now we're all more aware about the scams out there and, basically people cold messaging like, hey, do you want to scale your business? And I think immediately what we need to go back to is like, first of all, like, I've never heard of you. You don't know anything about me. So how can I ever expect you to be able to guide me? Right? So for example, in my decision to work with OTA 1 and then OTA 2, for me, like the proof is I have a relationship with this company. I know Jonathan personally. I've spent time at his events with the people that work for him now. Like I have a connection to them. Mm-hmm. So that obviously makes it kind of like foolproof decision for me. And in the same sense, we have to think that our clients are going to look at our content the same way. Do they have a relationship with us? When they post a comment with a question, do we answer back? Do we give them value? Do we create that relationship that then allows them like on a whim to be like, shut up and take my money, like because I believe in you, because you've been there for me, because I've been following you for years. So a lot of trainers do that really well. One example that pops to mind is Megan Calloway. That like she is so consistent. Like she is a master of her craft and you can tell. And I would trust any product that she puts out there because of that seriousness, as Jonathan was saying, that she puts into her work. So same with us, like how serious are we about the content that we're putting out? How consistent are we being? How helpful are we being? And how will we be perceived by our future clients?
Absolutely. Jonathan, I've got a follow-up question for you, sir, if you don't mind. Before I say that, I was going to share something. I have a post almost exactly speaking to that, Keto, like how helpful we are. And I thought it was going to tick off most of the people in our industry, but I feel like I'm going to share it now today. I think I'll go ahead and post it.
Why not?
Why not? But Jonathan, my thought on this is that one way to sort of differentiate is by interacting with people who have actually provided you some value, which I know I did not know you personally. I came to understand what PTDC was going through PN level 1 certification, I think, and having Dr. Berardi mention that trainers should follow PTDC. What I found was that over the course of the year or so in between the time I found you and OTA 1 happened, was the incredible amount of value that was provided. Is that a way to differentiate what you're seeing on the internet from people who are actually providing you value through their content?
Yes, but I would actually look at that as further down the line of what I would value a trusted recommendation from somebody like Berardi, from somebody like the late Charles Poliquin, from somebody like Eric Cressy, all of these people who, of course, are big promoters of the Online Trainer Academy. I would value a trusted recommendation from somebody like that higher. And the reason is, how do you really quantify and qualify value taken from content? It's relatively easy to produce, call it 101 level content for somebody who doesn't really know much about a thing, to give them something that you just copied from somebody else. You know, there was a big joke in our community. It's like basically every program out there is a ripoff of OTA. Like, I wouldn't go that far, but like most of the people went through our training first before they built their own program. Mm-hmm. And so, but that's just, I mean, irrelevant of us, right? That's just kind of the way that it is. I mean, there's very little original content. And so the fact that somebody has put out some thoughts on something, are you getting taken in by perhaps their charisma? Are they just the first person, man or woman, that you happen to see that's putting out that message? It's almost never an original message by them. And so it's really hard to qualify that and say, this is somebody who I want to learn from based off of the content. But if you have somebody who's been in the game for a long time, like the aforementioned experts, I mean, I'm talking like a decade plus, who's built up a reputation based off of quality, based off of results, based off of integrity, based off of just a zero tolerance on bullshit, where they don't promote everybody. I mean, you see in these mastermind circles and stuff like that, it's like everybody promotes everybody. Mm-hmm. Well, when you see recommendations from those folks that have built up this reputation, and there's somebody who you jive with or somebody that you deeply respect, I would value that way higher than getting value from content.
That makes sense. I love it. So third-party edification is what he's talking about.
Word of the day.
Yeah, third-party edification.
So good.
I reached deep for that. I would have never been able to pull that out if I had a hat on. Like that's definitely a no hat comment.
I had last night, actually, my family had some edification on top of cupcake. It was good. There was some meringue on there. There was some edification on there. We put some sprinkles on it. Calvin really wanted some. It was funny. Calvin actually hurt his leg at dinner, and we had some edification on the cupcake and on the cake, and he hurt his leg, and I had to take him away, and he was upset because he thought that other people were going to eat all of the cakes and stuff like that before he came back.
Yeah, that's not a thing. If I can quote Princess Bride, my friend, that word, I think it does not mean what you think it means. That's not the right word. But we got to wrap this up. Jonathan's got to go. You know, I got stuff to do. I'm going to look for a hat. Keto's just she's she's looking for homewares and supplies from a local homeware distributor. She's got a backyard to build and a new life to a whole new world.
Yeah, when you move in, Carol, we've got to get you a housewarming gift.
Yeah.
I
Amber's
live
in charge
for
of that.
this. Yes.
Amber's
Oh,
in charge
Amber
of
is
that.
perking up. Oh, I'm gonna send you a list of what I love.
Probably gonna
No, you're not sending us a list. We're deciding what we're
damn it.
getting.
Yeah.
All right.
You have nothing to do with this
I
decision.
expect a housewarming card, like the birthday card that you sent me that you didn't even know you sent me, Jonathan. So
what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you the biggest thing I can possibly think of that you have to display in your house somewhere. That's like the worst thing to send somebody. You send them like a big painting or like a big picture, and then they
And
have to display it, and even if they don't like it. So we're going to send you like a wall-sized one.
Do it. I love it. So keep those reviews coming. We had a review that we couldn't read today, which is an awesome review. Go over to, you get the show notes at onlinetrainer.com/podcast. Leave us a review. We're trending. We got some information from our back end folks today that talked about how we're trending in different categories. So we're going to dive into that, give you more of what you love. And thanks for tuning in to the hatless Ren Jones version of the Online Trainer Show. Hey Josh, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. And we'll talk to you guys next time. All right.
This is the Online Trainer Show. Trainer Show. Trainer Show. This is the Online Trainer Show. We shouldn't have a podcast.